Joe White from Get Life Coaching, and welcome back to another edition of Live Free. So I had a client the other day and inspired me to kind of share this with you, right? And she came to me because she was stuck. She was stuck in the past, stuck in trying to make sense of all these things that she believed has happened to her. And she was like, well, I asked her, I said, is this the life of your choosing? And she said, no, Joe, it's not. This is a life that people gave to me. I'm like, interesting, explain. She goes, well, my mom and dad, never told me they loved me. And they got divorced. And they're too busy fighting over me. I felt like a piece of property. And that caused me to feel really, really unloved. And then when I was 19 years old, I fell in love. And I gave this guy my heart. Finally, someone loved me. But then he dumped me, right? And then I got married. And I met a guy. And we had a family. But then all of a sudden, 8 years into the marriage, right? He wanted out of the marriage. See, my whole life, I've been miserable. My whole life, I felt unloved. My whole life. That's why I'm feeling the way I am. I'm like, stop, right? I said, first thing, you're caught in storyland. And she looked at me, right? I said, we all tell stories about our past. The sad part is none of them are true. She said, no, those things happened to me. I said, I understand the factual side of it. The events happened to you, but you gave it meaning. She said, no. What happened to me was the meaning, right? I was rejected. I wasn't loved. I wasn't told. I didn't feel appreciated. I said, that's the meaning you gave it. I said, I understand the little girl didn't know any better, but aren't you the grown adult? Right? She goes, no, this is my past, right? She was so stuck in it. And I began to explain to her what stories were. See, stories is just what we tell ourselves, right? And the only thing that keeps us from getting what we want in life are the BS stories that we tell ourselves over and over again of why we can't get what we want, why we can't change, why we have what we have. See, everything in life is a story. Now, we know stories aren't real. We know, like if you go to movies right now and you see a movie about an historical event, we know there's a lot of that movie is made up, is summarized, is twisted a little bit for entertainment or for dramatic effect, right? The creative license has been applied. And we go there not going for an historical, factual account. We go there because we want to be entertained and maybe learn something. If you really want to learn, you can study history, right? That's okay. But see, when we tell a story over and over again, we start to think that story is the fact. See, in life, we control the meaning. We control the meaning we give the events of our lives. And we can either give it a meaning that serves us, empowers us, moves us forward, breaks us free, or we can give a story of how we feel enslaved, captured, a victim. I said to her, there are two laws that are always true no matter wherever you're at. She goes, what are they, right? And I said, number one, whatever life you have is a result of the choices you've made. So you have chosen this result. She goes, but I don't want this. I said, that's a different conversation. What you don't want is different than what you have. She goes, what's the second point? And I said, whatever you have in your life is based upon what you have tolerated in your life. See, unfortunately, the life that you have is a life of your level of toleration. You've tolerated these things. You tolerated your life to be less than it can be. You tolerated what people have done to you, and you continue to stay in that pattern. And she starts to turn, right? She goes, well, how do I change this? I go, first thing to do is raise your standards. Raise the standards of what you will tolerate in your life, starting with you. Because she began to say, well, the other people. I said, no, it's not about the other people. It's about yourself. So you got to raise your standards, what you will tolerate within you. See, we too often in life, we simply allow ourselves to accept, or we get caught up in expectations. Divorce your expectations. Raise your standards and marry them. because expectations are out of our control at times. Expectations are unrealistic at times. We expect people to treat us different. We expect life to be different. We expect things to be easier. We expect by this age of my life. And what happens is we're so busy fighting a battle that doesn't matter. We lose a war that does matter. So wherever you are in your life, you have the ability to choose a new outcome, a new direction. We got to accept the fact that what we have is what we allow to occur to us, right? And people do awful things to us, right? And I would never imply that you deserve or someone asks for it. But we do allow people into our lives very often, and we allow them to stay. We allow people to treat us a certain way. If you don't like where you're at, change it. Right? 2 simple laws of happiness and success. Easiest thing I can teach you. Number 1, if it's working, keep doing it, right? If something's giving you happiness and joy, keep doing it. And if it doesn't work or stops working, change it. You know, I work with businesses now across the country, and very often they are doing things that are not working, but they keep doing it. We know the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting a different result. So if you're doing something and it's bringing you happiness and joy, if it's causing you to grow and contribute, keep doing it. Now, understand it may not last forever. It may change somewhere along the line. And that's okay, because all vehicles aren't meant to last forever. Better yet, most vehicles aren't meant to last forever. And if you're not getting the result of something you're doing, don't give up on the result. Don't give up on that outcome. Change what you're doing. So apply these principles. Examine your stories, right? Raise your standards. Divorce those expectations. And really discover how to create your own life. This is Joe White from Get Life Coaching. Live free, everybody. Bye-bye.